pretty helpful. And, and they'll generally be checking their statistics as well, because your strength score is really important in the beginning. You want to get a feel for which enemies you can fight and which enemies you have to run away from to get off of level 1 and onto the next few levels. So,
well, we are set to go here. King giving instructions, and we're going to start off in the throne room with an herb, as well as some big bucks and the obligatory magic key. No spells for our runners as of yet.
Yeah, so there's a few things you can do here. You can actually go back up into the throne room and save that gold if you feel like you might not be able to battle early game enemies. Or you can just run out into the world and try and look for a town, or you can forget about the gold and just fight nearby enemies. So there's a few different options here. And looks like we have runners attempting to fight magicians already, but let's see. We're doing 2 damage to a ghost up on MisterHomes screen, so they probably have about 8 or 9 or 10 strength, somewhere in that range. So they'll be able to get off the ground. Looks like there are monsters that are fightable.
But
everyone is taking
one of them.
Everyone is taking the tactic, it seems, to run out into the world to try and find an early town with which to upgrade to some sort of weapon. So that they can do more than just 2 damage to a ghost. But so far, no town's been sighted. We'll see how they do.
Well,
Actually,
looks like Shoobinator taking a death to a Wolf Lord.
I may have seen that wrong. It may have been the ghost that was doing 2 damage to the runner. I just saw Jackimus do 0 damage to a ghost just now. So they actually may have fairly low strength.
We've got Jack. Oh, well, it's found a torch and Erdrick's sword and a magic key. It looks like in Garen's grave. So those are huge finds navigating through Erdrick's cave in the dark. So the best weapon in the game for Jackimus, and that's now going to certainly help out with some levels here.
Wait, so that was Tablet Cave that he found that?
No, that was Garen's grave.
Oh, he made it to the 3 chests. Wow, that on level 1, that is a huge advantage for Jack, because I'm not so sure the other runners are going to be doing that. It could be 20 minutes easily before the others have Erdrick's sword in particular, and so far it might be 20 minutes before they have any weapon at all. They're not finding any towns either so far. And Shoobinator, you can see, is down to just a quarter of his starting gold. Every time you die, of course, you sacrifice half of your gold in order to be resurrected by the king. And so pretty soon, Shoobinator will be in a situation where if he does find a town, he won't be able to buy a weapon. So, huge start for Jackimus here.
And having not taken a death previously, still has about 300 and change gold, so able to purchase more keys. So we're going to be able to see the treasury. We're going to be able to see the basement of Tanagel Castle, which is the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight cave that has the silver harp. I was going to say, if it's the Stones of Sunlight in there, might have to wonder how well this was shaken up here.
Yeah, one of the quest items out of the way, though, already for Jackimus, and he is going to check that treasury now. Maybe there's some more quest items here. So he got a key and a sword out of that. That was just a massive find. And I think I saw the Stones of Sunlight pop up on his screen there. So 2 out of 3 quest items in the books. Wow, what a blazing fast start for Jackimus. And somehow MisterHomes is at level 4, so I'm not sure what caused him, or maybe it's level 5 now. Having a little trouble following his stream, but that's pretty good progress for, I don't believe he has a weapon, so I'm going to guess that he might have hurt more because he just got 58 experience for his last kill. So we may have an early hurt more seed. And so if that's the case, then Jackimus's early sword will be less of an advantage than it otherwise might have been. but it's still a great start for Jack.
Yeah, it looks as though we have some dropped frame issues on Mr. Holmes's seed, as there's a lot of kind of stopping and then sprinting and stopping and sprinting.
Yeah, he was definitely getting some big experience kills, though, so one of those early levels has hurt more for sure. And let's see, Shoobinator on level 3 does not have it yet. Looks like he has the hurt spell, though. Or is that the Warlock casting hurt on him? Sorry, I'm a little bit of difficulty following the streams, but at least everyone is off level 1. We're off and running. Seems to be a reasonable start after... in the beginning, it looked like it was rough, doing 0 damage to ghosts and the such, but they're all off and running now.
So now level 5 for Jack, who gets back attacked by a Wraith Knight and also seems to be having some drop frames.
Yeah, okay, so we're getting a look at the stats now, and at level 7, Mr. Holmes has 91 hit points already. So you might want to look out for that death necklace somewhere along the way. Could come into play. Strength score is very low for level 7 at only 17 strength points. So he's going to be relying on the Hurtmire spell pretty much exclusively, since he still doesn't have a weapon. It looks to me like he's actually found a zone in the hills where he's just kind of running around. I think there are Magiwyvern and Knights, which are 2 of the very best Hurtmoreable enemies. They're guaranteed to go down in 1 hit, and they give in the 70s and 80s for experience. So I think he's actually just grinding right now in these hills.
And especially given how low the strength is, certainly not a bad idea. Although there's a nice double-digit power gain at level 8. And
Yeah.
Shoob, meanwhile, is in Garen's grave, so Shoob about to pick up the sword as well as a key.
And a torch. So, not too far behind Jack at this point. Jack had a 3 or 4 or 5 minute lead on that, with that sword, and managed to gain about 100 and 120 experience point lead over Shoobinator in the process. But now those 2 are basically equalized, so Jack will have to try and press that small advantage, while Mr. Holmes continues on the warpath with the Hurtmore spell, and he's entering a cave now. Is that the grave as well? I didn't catch exactly where the grave was, but we'll soon find out. Shoobinator also looks to be potentially taking a death warp out of the grave, maybe thinking about the potential for an early gold grind. Since he does have the 1 key, he's only going to be able to afford 1 more key, though, I believe. So, yeah, he's going to save his game just in case the treasury does not have a key. So, or does not have any gold, rather. So, I think that's a good move. So, he'll buy the 1 extra key from or he'll just go straight to the treasury. Okay.
Now I thought better of it.
Yeah, so what you can do is you can open the back room here, buy the 1 extra key, and then go ahead and open the treasury so that if you find some gold, you'll be able to buy more keys. So this is the right move, I believe. He did save his game just in case this stuff doesn't work out. Now he's going to check the basement, which we saw was the Silver Harp, correct? So he's going to be on a similar path with Jackimus in a moment.
But you can see the levels skyrocketing early here. Level 8 for Holmes, level 7 for Jack, level 5 for Shoob, and not too terribly far behind, even though it may seem like it.
And I'll point out that our tracker somehow managed to determine that Mr. Holmes picked up the Erdrick sword, so he was in the grave. And so he now, I believe, has the experience lead and the sword. So he's in good shape. And now he's back at the castle, and he might take this opportunity to go buy some more keys.
Well, it looks like it was a cursed belt on the upper left chest.
So there is a silver shield available in the town of Garenham, and Jackimus does have keys, right? So he's just taking a pit stop over at the item shop first. I assume he's going to go into the back door and check out the other half of Garenham. So a nice find here for Jack. All right, so I saw an herb and some gold, I believe, and not totally sure what the third chest was in the back of Garenham, but nothing too consequential. And the Staff of Rain cave is in the back of Garenham, and he does have the harp to trade in for the staff, so nice early progress for Jackimus. We're showing 11.5 minutes into this one. He's got 2 quest items, and the sword, and the hurt more. Not too shabby.
I'm going to go in and purchase a large shield for an additional 10 defense. And the contents of Garenham were gold, an herb, and a magic.
Yeah, now I'll be curious to see just the way this plays out. Jackimus has already been in the top of the grave. He'll probably at some point explore Mountain Cave, but it's not necessarily the case. See, right now he may find the token here in the town of Cole if he gets lucky, and then he won't have to go into the Mountain Cave. And he does.
There's the token.
So I was just going to say now, if there's no reason for him to go into the Mountain Cave, and right now he has the sword and the quest items, so you're not necessarily looking for things in chests anymore, he may be content with the large shield now, even though he knows the silver shield's available in Garenham. He may not bother trying to set up any sort of a grind for the silver shield, going out of your way to do that when there's no real reason to explore dungeons any further. Right now, the only thing he has left is Erdrick's armor, and that's guaranteed to be on a search spot, so that's interesting. I'll be curious to see how Jack plays that out now, strategically.
Additionally, as I'm looking here, I don't believe that with the treasure chest glitch that a gold grind is available, as the only chests that are in Tangible Castle, which is now an empty chest down in the basement, but the treasury containing a cursed belt, 2 fairy waters, and the stones of sunlight.
For some reason I thought there was gold in one of those, so you're right. Yeah, so without the potential for a gold grind, Jack will certainly be content with the large shield. It'll be very unlikely for anyone to acquire enough gold the old-fashioned way for a silver shield. It's prohibitively expensive, especially in standard flags we run with 75% experience gaining, so oftentimes you gain the levels that you need for the Dragon Lord faster than you would be able to acquire that much gold. So large shield it is. Jackimus smartly taking the gold that he found in the back half of Garenham, revisiting the front half of the town, picking up the shield. And so yeah, he is really only looking for the armor, and a likely place for that will be the town of Hawksness. The other thing he could do is try and find the town of Cantlin, where there's an old man that could give some coordinates searching on the overworld. So those are the only 2 places that he really needs to find right now. And then if he hasn't found it, eventually he's going to need the Rainbow Drop Cave and Charlotte Castle, of course. But he will not need necessarily to go into any more dungeons.
Although the only major dungeon that looks to be left in the overworld is the Mountain Cave. Unless you want to go deeper into Garen's grave, but I don't think those 2 chests are going to necessarily be checked out. And the only other treasure chests in the overworld are either in the Tablet Cave or in the Town of Art.
So Shoobinator right now in town of Cole, he picked up his token, and we're showing the token for MisterHomes as well. So did they really all?
Yes, I did see there was a freeze frame where Holmes did search the spot in Cole.
And now the stones were found in the back half of Garenham, correct? Oh wait, no, they were found in the treasury. Okay, so they still need to find Garenham in order to trade in their harp for their staff, which Jack has already done.
That's correct.
So I guess they're all in the same situation where I don't think any of them have found the mountain cave yet, and it's turning out to be optional. They may all choose to skip it. Now, this may end up being a death necklace seed. You could find an item like that in a chest still, but as far as required items go, they're all basically looking for Erdrick's armor now at this point.
So their target items or their target locations are going to be the town of Cantlin or the town of Hawksness.
And Jackimus, with the Blue Dragon Death, just acquired level 8. And with only the large shield and no real armor to speak of, takes 41 damage to the grill. Sent back home. We're seeing MisterHomes was sent back home as well, and they do have the repel spell. MisterHomes using that to his advantage. Oftentimes, when you have hurt more under your belt, it's a great idea to use repel because you're pretty much looking for the strongest enemies once you have hurt more. And it looks like Jackimus does not yet have repel, so that's going to be learned at level 9. MisterHomes is 1 level ahead of Jack, and Jack is 1 level ahead of Shoobinator, but they're all making good progress.
And Holmes now entering a town in the swamp.
It's like, a suspense. It's a cliffhanger. And it's Garenham. So he'll be acquiring his staff momentarily as well. And maybe upgrading to the large shield. I'm going to guess, even if we don't see it, that he's going to end up with a large shield because there's gold in one of those chests that he's about to open. So good progress for MisterHomes. Item-wise now he'll be equivalent to Jackimus. I'm going to guess that he probably bought a dragon scale there as well. Never know though. And Shoobinator, slow and steady, moving off to the west, has reached level 8. By slow and steady, I was referring more to the actual stream that's like, moving along at a steady pace. On my end at least, is the easiest one to watch right now. MisterHomes is going speed running and taking a rest. He's like the hare and the tortoise and the hare, when he's like just running super fast and then he has to take a nap under the tree.
Yeah, that is a perfect analogy.
So Shoobinator has finished the tablet cave run to that chest, which, did we see that one before with somebody? I don't recall what that was that he may have found there, but again, that is one of those chests that he didn't have to walk all the way in and out of that dungeon for that chest, so that's, virtually a minute that's lost. There's just not going to be anything in there worth looking for unless you really, really, really want the death necklace.
Well, all the tablet cave had was some big bucks.
Same situation here in the town of Rimeldar. You may not even want to bother going and looking and seeing what's in that chest. and he is going to walk around and refresh his key stock. So once he's done with that, I'm curious if he is going to bother with the chest that's in the inn. And let's see, did Mr. Holmes gain? Somebody gained a level. Must have been Jackimus. I heard the level up music. We have Jackimus on the sound, the game sound tonight, so appreciate him volunteering for that duty.
And there's gold in them Rimmel Hill.
Yeah, so now he could afford an armor upgrade if there's one. If there's a half plate, for example, in this shop. It looks like nobody has gone with any sort of armor upgrade yet. At least nothing that our tracker's been able to catch. It's been a little bit challenging. But we have a leather armor upgrade, I suppose. It's better than the cloth. So Shoobinator is going to grab that for an additional... That's a pop quiz for everyone. I'm going to say that's 2 additional defense points beyond the cloth.
That would be correct. Upgrading from 2 to 4.
Yeah, I don't know if they just haven't really seen much in the way of armor upgrades in any of the shops. They just all seem to just feel like they're going to be finding Erdrick's armor any minute now, and maybe not high priority to buy armor. That's understandable when you're overpowered early. Just want to make progress, get some experience points. Mr. Holmes closing at level 11. And Jackimus is about to get level 10, I believe, with this Wolf Lord. No, just a couple of points short. And we have Hawksnest for Shoobinator. One of the 2 locations that could be hiding the armor. And what are we going to have here?
Stone Man.
When somewhere along the way they learned the sleep spell, so that is a very nice thing to have against a Stone Man. They're 14 out of 16 chance of landing sleep against it, I believe it is, so doesn't mean it's going to stick, but you can put it to sleep, and he's going to try actually hurt-mooring the Stone Man. They apparently do not have any healing spells yet, at least on level 8. So but he does get him even without healing. Great fight for Shoobinator. Woo!
Hit points.
Clutch. Search the spot, young man.
Oh, it's the fairy flute.
Ooh.
So that guarantees coordinates.
Yep, where is that town of Callan? That is going to be critical. Who's going to find it quickly?
And it looks like they did have heal more. It was just, I guess, Shoob's recognizing that enough damage done that one more swipe would be enough, perhaps?
Well, Shoob's only on level 8 right now. I didn't see it in his spell list. I know Jackimus has it. I'm not sure that Shoob's had it, at least at the time, on level 8. I think he leveled up with that battle.
So he acquired it at 9. Okay.
I think so. I'll go with that. You might be right. Maybe he had it and just kind of went for it. Mr. Holmes just checked the tile on the guarding the princess.
Blue dragon, it looks like.
Okay. Have we seen anybody else fight a blue dragon? Interested if they have any abilities or anything, but so the 2 spike tile enemies, if you're thinking about grinding for levels later, you're going to choice between a stone man and a blue dragon. Neither of which are really that great to grind on, so a little bit will depend on whether they have any special abilities, if they're favorable or unfavorable, and proximity to nearby towns and things like that. So That'll be a question for later when they need those last few levels. Jack should have an easier time here with the Stone Man because he does have heal more, and hurt more for that matter.
Not that it's very susceptible to hurt more, but it's still a YOLO strat.
Looks like MisterHomes might be buying a half plate. So that is better than our other runners have purchased.
In the off-declared useless, but in this proceed useful in providing armor, town of Breckenary.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if MisterHomes doesn't have the large shield like we mentioned earlier. It was available in Garenham, but since we didn't really see him do it, it's hard to give him credit for it. And this is turning into kind of an epic battle with the Stone Man, but he puts him down and gets his flute. So we got a flute for Jackimus now. Just in case we run into a golem mini-boss later on or something. Nice to have it in your back pocket.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, it's good to see that the chat, big fan of the Mel Brooks movie Spaceballs.
That's a fine movie. And MisterHomes is going into Mountain Cave. And again, I kind of questioned whether or not this was something that should be done. Really, he would only be looking for the Death Necklace and the Fighter's Ring at this point. Not sure it's worth running in here and encountering scorpions when you could be somewhere else encountering, better enemies, but it's going to make quick work of the Mountain Cave. So one of the chests apparently was wings, another looks like it's gold, and I think he picked up a fairy water on the previous chest. So far, a bunch of nothing in the Mountain Cave. There are 2 other chests.
That was the Fighter's Ring, actually.
Oh, what I thought was fairy water was actually the Fighter's Ring? Okay. So you get +2 attack power for that.
Well, yeah, when it freezes on "Thou hast found the F," it gives you, it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, when it quickly scrolled through, it looked like it was fairy water to me, but I don't know. And now Shoobinator's in Swamp Cave as well, wondering if he's also going to check the tile. I don't think anyone's actually found the coordinates yet, but maybe you can also think about a preemptive princess rescue if you can defeat the Guardian. But Shoobinator's just going to walk on by, see what's on the other side of the Swamp Cave. I think Shoobinator's in a position to know that the coordinates are going to be required to be searched out. So I would think in that situation, rescuing the princess is not too bad of an idea. He's already searched both of the other search spots. One had the flute, and the other had the token. MisterHomes, on the other hand, I don't think ever found Hawk's Nest, so he might be less inclined to pick up the princess at this point. And what town was that for Jack? He's in a different part of the world.
Well, we have Cantlin on Holmes' side.
Alright, so are we going to get to see the coordinates? Usually runners will pause a little bit on that because they're going to actually physically write down the coordinates when they get them, because that's the one thing that you don't want to mess up later on, because you'd have to come all the way back to Cantlin to get another look at those coordinates. So almost all runners that I know of physically write those down with a pencil and paper that they have nearby. And I feel like it flashed there. Wow, quick work from our tracker, Centroid. Appreciate it. 31 south, 55 west. So princess or no princess? That's the question. That's kind of like borderline.
Well, if you're Mr. Holmes, usually the question is, what's a princess?
Yeah. He's very good at counting out coordinates. Sometimes it matters if we're talking about being on the same continent or not. And sometimes that doesn't even stop people these days from counting out coordinates. A lot of very skillful runners. It does take a little extra time oftentimes to rescue the princess, so if you can manage to find the item without doing so, then that's even better. So Jackimus has the same decision to make. He is in Swamp South. He could go and rescue the princess preemptively, or at least check, see what's on the spike tile. He's already seen and acquired the flute and the token, so he knows for sure that he's going to have to seek out the coordinates, just he doesn't know what exactly they are yet. And we'll have some flute strats. Just getting a little bit of intel, or he's going to get the guaranteed runaway. So in the experience race, we got Jackimus in the 2600 range, Shoobinator about 19 and change, and Mr. Holmes, I believe, still has a small lead over Jackimus in the 2800 realm. Jackimus has caught up pretty well, though, over the last 10 minutes or so. While Mr. Holmes was running through that mountain cave, I think he dropped a little bit on that experience lead.
Well, true. Hard to say what enemies were in there. Shoob now finds Breckenary. And surprisingly spends more time than it takes to say Breckenary, as most people opting to do something otherwise, but picks up a half plate.
Yeah, one of the few places, I guess, that has any armor for sale, because they all kind of went for a while with no armor. Jackimus still showing no armor acquired. So a half plate is nice to have for now, when it is going to take a little bit of time and effort to acquire Erdrick's armor, so might as well protect yourself a little bit in the meanwhile. And I see a red screen and a stone man for Jackimus, so he's going back to the castle, just one decent battle away from level 12, which Mr. Holmes has recently acquired. And right on cue, we're going to get a good look at the stats, and I'll tell you what, 45 strength on level 12 is poor, to say the least.
Putrid.
So I'm thinking that Mr. Holmes realized the total imbalance there between the strength and the hit points, and he feels like the death necklace was virtually required in this seed, and I believe that's why he went into the mountain cave, because otherwise there's no required items in there. But if you feel strongly that the death necklace is going to be used in the seed, that may be why he went into that optional dungeon there. We're only 10 hit points away now from being able to use the death necklace safely, assuming they have enough defense power and that sort of thing. Agility score is still kind of low, but the story for now is going to be that strength score is going to have to come way up before we can fight the Dragon Lord. So, in the meanwhile, they're all still going to have to try and get Erdrick's armor. Who's going to do it first?
Well, whoever does, that will certainly put them in an advantageous position, as all of our runners looking to get that first place victory here and vault themselves up among the top runners here in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, and potentially not completely cementing, but putting themselves in good position to cement one of those top 16 spots.
Yeah, and the other things, we're going to need to find Rainbow Drop Cave, which Shoobinator and MisterHomes just found. It's amazing. Okay, so with that out of the way, and apparently Shoobinator did not trade in for the staff in the backside of Garanham, so he's unable to get the Rainbow Drop right now. It's actually a bit of a setback. MisterHomes getting the drop on the first try. Shoobinator's going to have to make a return trip back here. And then the other thing is, have we seen Charlotte Castle?
I believe we did earlier. Unless I'm confusing it with the seed that I saw earlier this evening.
Yeah, so if Mr. Holmes saw Charlotte Castle and knows where it is, he's basically in grind and go mode. I believe he was the one that got the coordinates. So, he could right now just look for a grind spot if he so chose. It's a little bit right now. I'm wondering how you would grind, because the strength score is very low. So fighting a blue dragon or a stone man right now would be a little bit nasty. And, otherwise you're just going to run around in a certain area looking for hurt and mortal enemies, I guess. But in the meanwhile, he still has to make his way over to where those coordinates are sending him. So is he back in the swamp cave going for the princess?
I'm not sure, although you have to wonder. Earlier, Holmes was working on an area with a bunch of knights and... what was it? Knights and rogue scorpions that he was getting a bunch of? Or no, it was knights and magi-wyverns.
Oh, yeah. Really early on in the hills there. Yeah, that would make sense to go back to a situation like that, especially now that he has repel. He could repel any lesser monsters in the area. I believe he's probably still not repelling magi-wyvern and knights, because he has no silver shield and he only has half plate armor. Agility was still on the low side, so I believe he would still have those enemies even if he was using repel. So he is going to go for the princess. So perhaps those coordinates took you over to the second continent or around a really large obstacle, some water or some mountains or something. So either way, he's going to go grab the princess, and this will be his last thing that he needs to do before just grinding more levels here. And Jackimus did get the rainbow drop, I'm pretty sure. I saw him in the rainbow drop cave, and we know that he has the staff from earlier, so he's kind of in the same situation, although I don't know if he's ever found Cantlin, so he's a bit behind on that. Cantlin now for Shoobinator, so he'll be getting those coordinates. The important thing for Shoobinator is going to be finding Garanham, which the other runners found that town a long time ago.
Well, just as you were looking at, or just as you were checking one of the other screens, Jackimus actually did acquire the coordinates in Cantlin and then cast return to go back to the cap.
Ah, excellent. So that's actually heating up between Mr. Holmes and Jackimus then. They're both just racing towards Erdrick's armor. They both have the rainbow drop. And so, and they have a fairly even experience race right now. So that's shaping up to be a really tight one between those two, if Jackimus has the coordinates. Whether or not he's going to go and try and take advantage of the princess, or what the princess will provide for him in terms of the GPS item, or if he's going to attempt to count it out. That'll be the question. Mr. Holmes is kind of, what would you call it? Kind of narrowing in on the spot using the GPS there. You can see she gives you how far you are away from the castle, and then you make your way towards the given coordinates. So I would say there's probably a 1 or a 2 minute exploration lead right now for Mr. Holmes, where if he had a grind spot in mind, he would be able to do a dedicated grind maybe a minute or two earlier than Jack and perhaps gain a very thin experience lead during that time. But it's really pretty close between those two right now. And Shoobinator, just that one setback of not having the staff when he found the Rainbow Drop Cave, I think has set him a little bit back in the race now.
And Holmes able to find the armor. So all of errands out of the way for Holmes. Now it's just a matter of finding a spot to grind. Perhaps looking more for the death necklace here, not finding it in Rimmildar, as it's just a chest of big bucks.
Yeah, and that means he did not find it anywhere in Mountain Cave either. So Death Necklace is one of the items that could be in Charlotte Castle. So that's a situation where you might want to have to take a detour on your dive if the level ups turn out to where you really need that item. He does seem to be going out of his way to look for it, so it's grind and go time otherwise for Mr. Holmes. Now he's going to check the Tablet Cave chest because he feels like that item is that important to find in this particular seed, and I can't blame him. And other than that, I think he'll be ready to go. I believe now he's probably seen all the chests because he saw the Stones of Sunlight Cave chest earlier, and he's cleared out Tantegel and Garanham fully. I don't know that anyone made it to the bottom of the grave necessarily. They all seem to clear out the top of the grave. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was where they found the initial magic key and Erdrick's sword, but none of our runners have gone deeper into the grave. So there's the 2 chests there and the 7 in Charlock. One of those has the death necklace that Holmes is looking for.
Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting if something like the death necklace was in the bottom of the grave? And the way these stats are progressing, it really seems like that's going to be a required item. Or not required, but it could save you a level or 2 and allow you to fight the Dragon Lord that much sooner than your opponents if you do have it. Mr. Holmes is now going to just check and see if the grindable enemy here in Hawksness is worth sticking around. So now he has a decision. He knows that the Hawksness spot has a Stone Man, and the Blue Dragon is in the Swamp Cave, and he has very low strength to work with, and he's doing like in the teens for damage against an enemy that has sometimes up to like 140 hit points. So these are very slow battles. It's really not the way you want to be grinding. Any kind of like a hurt more grind out in the overworld is probably better until you get some more strength. So you can see that he exited that situation pretty much immediately. He's just looking for a place to grind now. So we are going to have a princess rescue by Jack, and so yeah, he's just a couple of minutes behind, but he actually does have a couple of 100 points experience lead over Mr. Holmes right now. So we'll see now that Mr. Holmes is in a dedicated grind mode. Looks like he might be looking in Charlock Castle to see if there's hurt mortal enemies on the top floor of Charlock. So while Jackimus is hunting down the armor, is Mr. Holmes going to have an opportunity to overtake him for the experience lead? Yeah, and that must have turned out to be a pretty difficult count if we are seeing both Mr. Holmes and Jackimus go for princess rescues. They are both very talented at actually counting these out. And, they can go clear across all the way across the world in many cases, but that must have been a difficult one.
So it looks like Mr. Holmes has gone back into Garen's grave and is going to take a look into those 2 treasure chests first.
Yeah, I kind of like it because right now he doesn't have the strength to really do a grind on a spike tile enemy. So I don't know. Either you're gonna... The other option would have been to go down through Sharlock and try and make it to the bottom using Hurtmore strats on those enemies along the way, because those are typically more higher experience monsters you'd be encountering. So those would have been the 2 options. You definitely want to be looking for the Death Necklace, though, in this seed. Yeah, I'm going to ask him later what caused him to choose diving the grave instead of trying for a Sharlock dive. That is kind of curious to me. Unless he took a death unintentionally, and the grave just happens to be nearby Tentacle Castle, and just figured, while he was in the area, maybe he would take a look. But otherwise, given the choice, I think it might be slightly better to go into Sharlock looking for the necklace. Among other reasons, there's just more chests there. It's just a better chance that it's in Sharlock. But well, we're about to find out. And I know at least one of our people in chat is actually watching him on a cleaner stream, I believe. So maybe he'll let us know if we miss what's in these 2 chests.
So, big bucks.
All right, many thanks to Vrialis in chat. So that wasn't the necklace. Got 1 more chest here and 7 others in Sharlock, as you mentioned. So it may be like I mentioned, maybe a routing thing where he was walking right by the grave, figured he'd take care of this now. He can cast outside, find a nearby town, heal up, and then try a Sharlock dive, which is probably about as good of a grind situation as you're going to find right now anyways. And it looks like Jackimus has no resources right now, but he's in the Sharlock region. Unless that's where the armor is as well. Looks like he's still hunting down the armor.
And there's the Death Necklace deep in the grave.
Oh my goodness, that's actually huge, because I'm guessing the other runners are not going to do that. It's a higher percentage play to look for it in the treasury. That's actually a big advantage for Mr. Holmes that he found it there. So he sort of semi-gambled on that, and it paid off big time.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but other times it's not too bad to be both.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet for sure that Jackimus is going to look in Sharlock first, because in watching a lot of his races in the past, he has a tendency to go into Sharlock early anyways, because he likes to get a feel for what's in the different zones, how difficult is the dive going to be, and he feels like, it's all triple-digit experience points monsters in Sharlock anyways. So you're getting experience, you're getting a lay of the land, and if you are still looking for something, you go check the treasury. I'm guessing Jackimus is going to Sharlock first, and the one thing that could overcome that is if we have some kind of magic level up where you get like 30 power, and then it just doesn't even matter if you found the necklace, But any kind of even semi-borderline situation, the Death Necklace in this seed looks like it's going to save a level or 2. Huge find for Mr. Holmes. I'm not sure if at level 13 he actually has the 130 hit points yet that you'd typically want. But it is getting close. It's at least in the 120s. All right, still at 120. Oh, he's at... I think we're showing level 12 for him right now. And you can see actually the difference here with JackimusWedge, by the way, is running Strength Agility. And he's at level 13 with only 113 hit points. So it might be a much more difficult situation for him to ever use the Death Necklace. Whereas MisterHomes on the identical level has 10 additional hit points to work with and is closing in very quickly on being able to use the Death Necklace. So difference in builds here could actually be significant.
Yeah, the agility is not great. The strength at 13, just 40 strength points. My goodness.
And it's interesting just because of the way it works that he only is getting 5 additional agility points over MisterHomes, but he's sacrificing 10 hit points. I'm not so sure that's a great trade-off there, but he is a pretty big fan of having the agility for those Sharlock dives, giving you a little bit of extra chances to run away and defense break enemies. But Jack looks like he's going to try the Blue Dragon grind instead of going through Sharlock like I had thought he would. Still a pretty low strength score to have to beat up this Blue Dragon, because I feel like it's going to be a 4 and sometimes 5 attacks every time to beat a Blue Dragon with only 87 attack power. I kind of wonder how long he'll stay here before he decides that it's not working out.
Well, that's if he's rolling on the high side. With just 87 attack power, you're looking at an attack range on a Blue Dragon of 11 to 22. If it has a close to max 98 hit points, you're on average hitting 6 times per kill.
Yeah, and looks like the Blue Dragon pretty much is just punching, I think. So you're looking at using 1 and sometimes 2 heal mores on every battle also. That is a very poor grind at this point. Thinking that he may be hoping to get level 14. He's only 400 and change away, so that's like 3 more Blue Dragon corpses. If he can get that before he dies by running out of resources, he'll maybe wants to see if he's going to get a really big strength increase, which, as we see from MisterHomes' screen, I think he got a big goose egg on the strength gain there for 14. So this seed is trolling our runners on that statistic.
Well, according to Chad here, that's a very best of times, worst of times scenario, and that no strength, but 24 hit points and 23 magic points on level 14.
Oh, that actually favors Jackimus quite a bit, because the strength agility build with that level up is going to be able to use the Death Necklace. He'll for sure have more than 130 hit points after that level up, so that is very interesting. That favors Jackimus, that development there. So now the HP almost doesn't... Any additional hit points beyond 147 that MisterHomes has really just doesn't matter very much at that point. Once you equip the Death Necklace, if he so chooses, I guess extra hit points could give him double attacks in addition to having the Death Necklace equipped, so that's always nice. But yeah, it's interesting now that giant jump like that is going to allow Jackimus to use the Death Necklace. So now he may start thinking about looking for it. He might have to abandon this Blue Dragon grind and start looking for it. And he is casting outside.
I think it was also on resources in terms of MP down to single digits.
Right. So we'll have to wait and see after he heals up if he comes back to Swamp Cave or if he wants to maybe go to Sharlock. Meanwhile, I actually have not seen recently what Shoobinator's been up to. Has he taken care of the staff and the drop? Because that was what kind of held him up before, that he didn't get the staff before finding the drop cave. Looks like he's actually walking in the direction of the armor now. So here's the battle of the grinds now. We have a close one between Mr. Holmes and Jackimus, and Mr. Holmes, I believe, has decided that taking 7 swings against the Blue Dragon is just not as good as walking around in this desert and hurt-mooring Magiwyvern. I believe Mr. Holmes is just grinding out in the overworlds, but we shall see. Because I can't think of what else he'd be looking for. I think he's seen all the chests now.
Well, yeah, the overworld has been full cleared. So you can see the experience lead for Holmes about 600 at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like Jack had about a 200-point lead a little while back. And so now they're both officially in grind and go mode, and I'll just, we'll have to watch and see which grind is better, because they are taking different tactics here. Jackimus with the guaranteed encounter, so you're not walking around in between encounters. But the encounter itself is very slow, and it's resource intensive. Whereas Mr. Holmes is, or at least was, just finding hurt-moreable enemies. Now is he on the same Blue Dragon, or is he just on a Blue Dragon?
No, he's on the same one. Same Spike Tile and Swamp.
Wow, I'm surprised with 89 attack power that this is the best that they can do here. A Blue Dragon grind. Oof. It's a tough call. Alright, so the lead is only 300 points now. And they are doing the same grind. Mr. Holmes has slightly more MP to work with on this cycle, but I think they'll both have enough to reach level 15 before having to go heal. So 15 is like a giant strength boost. They're looking for like 30 more strength or something crazy. So it's like, it feels like in theory we could be going to level 20, but I know every time we think that, all of a sudden, I think in a race earlier this week, they got like a 27 or a 28 on the last level, and it was just go time all of a sudden. So it could happen at any moment. But for now, I feel like they're settling in for the long haul here.
And as we do so, it gives you a chance to, or gives us a chance rather, to tell you that if you want to give this crazy randomizer a go yourself, the link is there in chat. You can head on over to github.com to download the randomizer. And if you want to get in on some of the races outside the league here, there are races going on at all points of the day and night. And you can join the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Discord.
So I'll briefly touch on the math that these guys are doing with their stats for some of our newer runners. When you're talking about the Dragon Lord fight, you determine the damage you're going to do to the Dragon Lord by basically taking your attack power and subtracting 100. And then divide by 2 for the high and divide by 2 again for the low. So for example, if you have 140 attack power, you'll be doing 10 to 20 damage on every swing. If you have only 120 attack power, it's more like 5 to 10 damage. Dragon Lord has in the range of 150 to 165 hit points. So you figure out from your attack power basically how many hits you have to how many hits you're going to have to use to defeat the Dragon Lord. And yeah, so right now with only 52 strength on level 15, which translates into 94 attack power on, with the Erdrick Sword and the Fighter's Ring. You're doing no damage to the Dragon Lord, basically. It's like a 0-1. So, eventually, when they equip the Death Necklace, they're going to get 10 more attack power. But they're still with 104 magic points right now, which is 13 heal mores. They're going to want in the realm of about 128 attack power total. So, Death Necklace brings you up to 104. And there's no other way to get the other 24 attack power except to grind more levels. That's kind of a lot to be looking for. Usually at this stage of the game, you're looking for like 5 more strength or something. We're looking for like 24 more strength before we can go.
And we want to thank those of you joining us from Randomania 2. Appreciate the raid. And Sparkover asking, how goes this race so far? Well, it started off pretty quickly, and yes, as noted here, the restream seems to have a bit of a slideshow going on here. But yes, a very, very low strength seed, which Empty Eye certainly loves. 52 strength at level 15, as you see on Mr. Holmes' side.
And it seems to be actually a kind of a chore to go out and heal yourself and to come back to this blue dragon. While Jack was doing that, all of a sudden Mr. Holmes has 1,000-point experience lead. Now, Mr. Holmes pretty soon is going to have to take his turn to go and heal. And in the meanwhile, Jack will catch up. But that's like kind of a long time, seemingly, before you can get back to this spike tile. Just another reason why I'm not so sure this is the best grind. But they're both pretty much decided on it, so enjoy your blue dragon corpses, because they could be there for a while.
And here is 15, 5 power, 4 response speed, 2 hit points, and 3 magic points.
So when you mentioned that it was kind of a quick start, it was interesting, because it was a quick start kind of in all different ways for the runners. If we recall, Jackimus... they all started with gold, so they were all kind of looking around for a town. And Jackimus stumbled upon the grave and went through in the dark on level 1 and found Erdrick's sword in a chest. So that immediately was a nice start for him.
And a magic key.
And a magic key, so he got started with keys as well. Mr. Holmes, on the other hand, found somehow some enemies early on to grind in the early zones. In a situation where it didn't really look like that was going to be quick because they had very low strength to start. But he managed to get up to around level 3 fairly quickly, which had the Hurt More spell. So he was off and running, I think it was level 3. It was one of the very early levels. So he was off and running with Hurt More while Jackimus was off and running, slashing things with the sword. And Shoobinator, I think it was kind of a combination of the two. He found the sword relatively early, but it was not at level 1. So it was kind of a start where it seemed like it was going to be slow, actually, but then they all did things that propelled them forward. Yeah, and as I thought might happen, Jackimus is going to go with the Sharlock dive, probably looking for the Death Necklace, but also probably just feeling like, throwing down a Hurt More on many of the enemies in here, it has to be better than, taking 6 or 7 swings at a blue dragon. So I kind of like this idea from Jackimus, just unfortunately for him, the Death Necklace is in the bottom of the grave, and it's not going to be in here.
Oh, but the first enemy encountered in Sharlock is a wizard, and it has sleep.
Fortunately, Jackimus is on the Strength Agility build, which gives him enough defense to actually defense break a wizard now. And so, which was good, because he was taking several hits from the wizard while he was sleeping, but most of those hits were just bouncing off of his armor at that point, which was nice. If Mr. Holmes was in there in that same situation, Mr. Holmes probably would have died because he's on the strength HP build, not yet currently defense breaking wizards. So,
well, maybe not dead with such the high hit point total, but the attacks from the wizard certainly would not tickle. It'd be an attack range of anywhere from 10 to 21 he'd be taking with each hit.
yeah, that is true. Anytime you enter a battle with 149 hit points, you probably have to take a pretty long snooze for you to actually get slept and wrecked. But so here's an enemy that I assumed that Jackimus would lay the hurt more down on something like a Star Wyvern. And it turns out Star Wyvern also has sleep, but at a fairly low percentage. Or maybe a medium percentage. So for Jackimus to not be using his MP on battles like that kind of makes me wonder if he's like fighting his way down for game, but that seems unlikely. Now he's going to battle red dragons as well. So now he has the information at least that there are indeed red dragons in the first zone in Sharlock. So he'll use up some heal mores to take down the red dragon for 255. So he is fighting all these enemies. It's not like he's just running away and just going straight for the treasury. He is gaining the experience while doing this. He's fighting all the enemies as they come. So, but if there's too many enemies like this, it might be tough to get to the treasury before he runs out of magic. So, see how many red dragons are all throughout Sharlock here.
And here's 16 for Holmes, 6773.
Yeah, the key there is the 6. We're looking for 24. So 6 isn't going to get it done. It's got to go to 17 no matter what. Currently 110 attack power, and I guess our tracker has decided that he has equipped the death necklace for the purpose of this grind. Is that really a thing? Is everybody confirming that? So that's a cool tactic too. You have so much extra HP that you're never going to use. Why not just put the death necklace on right now? And he's done exactly that, figuring it might take several more levels of blue dragon grinding. So that's the difference oftentimes between taking 6 attacks and taking, let's say, 4 attacks on every blue dragon encounter. That will really speed up his grind. So great strategy there, I think. Heads up play there. It's not common that you have a situation where it makes sense to put the death necklace on early, but I feel like this is one of them. Let's see if that speeds up his grind. He has gotten out to about a 15,000 point lead now while Jack is running around in Sharlock with enemies that have not been that easy to defeat for him, like the Stone Man here he's running into. Not even going to bother with that one. That would just be way too slow. And as soon as he goes down this staircase, he'll now be in the 3rd zone. So another totally different mix of enemies in this zone, which includes the Golem, which he does have the flute. Unfortunately, that's just a really long battle also. So he chooses to run away from that one as well. And every time he runs from these battles now, we're looking at Holmes just extending that lead.
Not going for the treasury. Jack detouring to the left.
This is a straight up gamble that he's going to get a giant strength gain on 16, which we know is not going to happen. Or maybe he's hoping that the mini boss is... What would he be looking for here? Just an Axe Knight, maybe?
Axe Knight, maybe even an Armored Knight would be better than what he's run into. So
I'm really surprised he's not at least looking for the Death Necklace. Maybe he's not a big fan of using the Death Necklace. I don't know. That's pretty surprising to me. I'll have to ask him that later.
Well, having seen enough of Jackimus's races, with Jackimus, the only thing that's for sure is nothing's for sure.
Yeah, now if he wasn't using any magic on the way, I would say that this maybe is an attempt to win on the next level. But he did use a whole bunch of magic, and he did find the Axe Knight mini-boss. And the Axe Knight has Hurt! Oh my goodness, it's a dream. He could choose to use Hurt more in these battles, or not. He could... I guess it makes sense to use Hurt more because their strength is still so low. It would be a slow fight otherwise, but he got the Dream grind here. He's got an Axe Knight grind on the mini-boss.
Another gamble paying off for Jackimus, at least here in the early going.
And he's on the strength agility build. If he could somehow get to the point where he's defense breaking Axe Knights, he could sit here all day. The Axe Knight is spamming the Hurt spell. This is a interesting play here. I just want to make sure we're keeping up with what Shoobinator's doing too. Is he officially grinding Go also? Looks like he's, I think, maybe also going back and forth to the Blue Dragon grind. He's out of resources there, so he's healing up. So Jackimus gets the news about level 16 and immediately continues the grind for 17. MisterHomes is three Blue Dragon kills away from 17 himself. We'll see that in a minute or so.
You see still about a 1,600 experience differential, and Jackimus running pretty low on MP.
And you mentioned the... Yeah, so I don't even know if he needs MP here. It's just a matter of how long the battles take. He could just heal walk on the grass here and probably fight this Axe Knight forever. Even with no magic to heal himself. It is really spamming the Hurt spell from what I've seen. That's an amazing development. It's back to within 1,500 of homes now. Oh, I think he just realized that he forgot to check the treasury, or at least he's decided that he wants to check the treasury at this point. But no, he's not going to make it back over there. Okay.
A little too late.
So what will Jack do now? Now that he knows the Axe Knight is there, is he going to just run all the way back down and grind on the Axe Knight?
I don't even know if he knows what he's going to do.
I see Sharlock in his screen. He's going back in. And here's a spot where I think it would make a little bit of sense for him to start trying for game. But he's already using magic, so... It's basically a grind and potentially a treasury raid. So Holmes had 17, and 17 we're showing 61 strength for Mr. Holmes. That's not going to get it done. So you mentioned the quick start that we had. Now we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and it's not so quick anymore.
Well, the game knows. That's why when I looked at it, I'm like, all right, there's gonna be something that evens it out here. I've seen too many of these seeds to know that sub-hour seeds, sub-hour and 15-minute seeds are just a relic, something from the past.
I kind of feel like the game knows that you're pulling a doubleheader tonight for Ron, and just wants to keep you in that seat as long as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of it too. The game knows, like, all right, we've got Burgundy on the ropes here as well. Let's go for the knockout.
Oh boy. Well, Jackimus fell asleep and he's only got 24 hit points, but he manages to survive the Star Wyvern battle. So he needs to take less naps and get off this zone and get back down to that Axe Knight. And Mr. Holmes back to the Blue Dragon, going for 18. So 18 will be acquired at 14,250, and if we need 19, that's at 16,500. And if for some reason we have to go beyond 19, the levels actually start to become further apart, which means even longer on the grind. So it's very unusual to see level 20 required, though. It would be a real outlier. So I don't know.
If we have to go beyond 19, I'm going home.
I don't blame you. Yeah, this happened recently in one of the other races, and all of a sudden they got, a power gain in the 20s. So it could just happen at any moment. It's sometimes just backloaded like that, and you just get it all at once. But yeah, we still have the strength statistic in the white for level 17. Not even in the orange. So that can't be good.
Yeah, when we get into things that go that long, it makes me harking back to that awful seed that you had the unenviable task of doing solo commentary on from the Chaos tournament a little less than a year ago, that went to a 3-hour and 45-minute double draw.
Oh, that was so horrific. I remember I felt for the gentleman that was leading that race, because I think he took 8 or 9 dives into Sharlock, and because it's Chaos, he ended up with, there was a level where he needed over 10,000 experience to get the next level. And it was just like, he was like, enough's enough, I'm going to bed. This game can be pretty nasty.
Yeah, Chaos a little bit different, as had been seen here in the Week 2 flags, is, well, along with all the other stuff that's randomized, all of the enemy statistics are randomized, as are the amount of experience to go from one level to the next, and, well, in a fun little twist, also all of the weapon and armor shop prices are randomized. And we'll see that coming back a little bit later here in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League in a couple of weeks.
So apparently both of the other seeds tonight, according to chat, took about an hour and 14 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes for the winner. So we actually have a chance still to be the fastest seed of the night, even though this feels like it's going dreadfully slow at this point. We'll see what level 18 holds for Mr. Holmes here in a brief moment. That's going to tell us.
What a tease. Just, what is that, about 22 experience away.
Yep, if just a lowly skeleton had popped up while he was, walking back and forth, he could have gotten it that way. But here we go. What's he going to get? Looking for big power. Alright, our tracker has updated the stats in our screen here, even though we may not have seen it on Mr. Homes' screen. And the power stat is... I guess it might be good enough now. I'm trying to think now if you want to use the death necklace. Oh, he has the death necklace.
It's already
on.
on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so he only has 121 attack power with the death necklace equipped. I don't recall ever that being enough, but with that MP total, is he going for it? This might be enough. You have potential double attacks with the death necklace equipped, which is super rare. And you have just a gigantic amount of heal mores. It looks like Mr. Homes is going for it with only 121 attack power. That would be maybe the lowest I've ever seen actually win. Doing 5 to 10 damage.
That'll also mean a Dragon Lord fight that'll end somewhere around the midnight hour here on the East Coast.
Yeah, that will be just a very long fight if he actually does this. Now, Mr. Homes, I don't believe, has really scouted out Sharlock, so he's not aware of the red dragons that are on the top zone, for example, but I'm not sure. There's a couple of enemies that have the sleep spell. Mr. Homes has 84 defense power according to our graphics, so he is defense breaking the wizard with the sleep spell, but not the Star Wyvern with the sleep spell.
Well,
I think he's going for it.
Something interesting that Chad is noting that Mr. Holmes not too far away from the 14,800 gold to get a silver shield, and yes, goes and makes the purchase of a silver shield. Has done all the grinding up, so no gold grind, but has naturally fought up to purchase the silver shield for 10 additional attack power.
That is a huge heads-up play by Mr. Holmes. He didn't die all that time, and he actually got that much gold.
Or defense power, excuse me.
That's a great play. So he went and made a side trip over to Garnham. He had that in the back of his mind probably for about a half hour, that he could maybe go get that silver shield. Wow. So that's cool. So now he is defense breaking the Star Wyvern that I just mentioned that has the sleep spell, as we see Jack taking a nap to that very Star Wyvern. And it has the baby breath. And Jack has taken a death, slept and wrecked. And Mr. Homes is in Sharlock going for game with 121 attack power. Woof! So 121 attack power is 5 to 10 damage to the Dragon Lord. As I mentioned in chat, on average that is going to be 21 or potentially 22 attacks if he's on the high side of his HP there. And somebody calculated that's 17 heal mores. Yeah, that sounds right. 17 heal mores. And so with 124 hit points and very strong defense, you're hoping for like 2 or 3 double attacks to carry you through. This is a very borderline situation, really. He's got to make it through the Dragon Lord 1 fight without something going wrong. He's got to not burn his herbs or his heal mores too quickly if he encounters some red dragons on the way down. 88 agility, he's about a 50-50 shot to run from a red dragon, for example. This is not a sure thing. This is definitely an aggressive play by Mr. Homes here. Let's see what happens when he gets down there. Meanwhile, Jackimus walks right by Sharlock Castle and re-enters the Swamp Cave, which he has been to many times, fighting lots of blue dragons. So he's got one more level to take care of before he has that decision to make. Actually, he's about halfway through that level now. He needs 14,250 total. And for sure he'll get it on this cycle of Blue Dragon fights. Shoobinator, by the way, just reached 16, so not too much further for him to go either. And he's in Sharlock, perhaps on a treasury hunt for the necklace. Didn't catch if Shoobinator actually has the necklace or not, but that's my prediction. Diving into Sharlock for grinding and hopefully to get the necklace. And I think it turned out to be a nice play for MisterHomes to put that necklace on early. He still has it equipped halfway through Sharlock here.
It was just perplexing because we thought, oh, okay, well, if he puts on the necklace, oh, wait, he already has it on.
Yeah, I kept like wanting to do the mental math saying like, oh, he's going to get 131 attack power. Surely that's enough. But no. 69 strength is 121 attack power only if you have the death necklace equipped. Which he does. Doing Sharlock in the dark. He didn't have one torch in his inventory this whole time. Come on, torch for the viewers. Alright, this floor is easier to see. So prediction in chat that since he's defense breaking the Axe Knight, he could actually just get another level here without wasting any magic on this Axe Knight mini boss, but I actually don't think so. I think he's going to go for game. It's a race, and he feels like, you know, Jack might already be there as well, so we have one prediction. I think he's just going to go for it on 18, though. He has not used any of his resources on the way. He's got a full stock of heal mores to work with. He's defense breaking Dragonlord 1, by the way, with that Silver Shield purchase, so he has a good chance of holding on to his hit points in the DL1 portion of the fight. We shall see. Oh, wait a minute. He actually has been taking some fights. He has 15-6 right now for experience, so I think maybe the chat is onto something here. He's more than halfway through to the next level up here.
Once he gets to that spike tile and sees the Axe Knight, he's going to be doing cartwheels.
Sometimes you just kind of get half the level, though, in case you fail to the Dragonlord, and then you can get the other half on the next dive. So I don't know. I'm still not totally convinced. Let's see what happens here. Especially if he sees the Axe Knight do like 1 or 2 damage to him, and it's like, oh, I must be defense breaking him. Let's see. So there's the victory. Does he go right back to it, or is he going for Dragonlord? He is fighting more Axe Knights. I can see the experience creeping forward. So he is getting 19. So very nice prediction by chat. Heads up play by MisterHomes to fight his way down on a borderline situation. Getting the remainder on the mini boss.
I mean, it makes sense. Even if the Axe Knight melees, which it hasn't been doing very often, the most it's going to hit MisterHomes for is 16.
I actually think 18 is mathematically enough, just because he should get some double attacks, but it is very close, and as you mentioned, that fight would have taken forever, which is another problem. So,
oh my god. 2 power at level 19.
Alright, but he's got even a better chance for double attacks. He's up into the 130s with the Death Necklace equipped. So without it, he'd be in like in the 160s, which is very rare. And he has, yeah, wow. Well,
All right,
so
you
now
guys
instead
lock
of
up, I'm leaving.
instead of 5 to 10, now he's doing 5 to 11. 123 attack power. This is going to take forever. Buckle up. Still not sure if we're going to beat the hour and 40 minutes from that other seed. We're at an hour and 30 right now. I actually think this is fairly comfortable victory now. You would typically want around 144 MP, which he has slightly less than that, but with 130 hit points and very strong defensive equipment, he surely will get several double attacks in this battle. Probably on average he'll get 4 or 5 double attacks here because it's such a long battle. So he'll actually have some wiggle room here. Of course, we can't actually monitor the progress, but confidence is high. Something would have to go really wrong, I think, for him to lose here.
Well, here's the amazing and intriguing thing. As you look at the statistics, 132 hit points, attack power 123, and you think, oh, that's perfect death necklace scenarios. Except he's already put the death necklace on, and it's gotten to 132 and 123.
I'm not sure I can recall anyone ever winning with the strength score in the white. But, yeah, never even made it to the orange. That statistic just trolled them for the entire seed, and it never got any better. Alright, our tracker is monitoring progress up to 100 damage already, and we're looking at like 10 heal mores in reserve, so... And he's rolling a bunch of 10s apparently, which is near his max. Another 10, so he's gonna have several heal mores remaining. He's got this no problem.
Just for point of reference, if the death necklace was off, his max hit points would be 176 right now.
And his damage range would be like 3 to 6. Ugh. Absolutely death necklace required situation here. And remember, these guys are going to have to dive the grave if they want that necklace. Shoobinator and Jackimus. Not totally sure if either one of them did it, but I feel like Jackimus was looking in the treasury in Sharlock, or he was on his way to do so. I don't think... I think they're going to have to make an extra trip for that necklace here. Or we're just going to need more and more and more levels.
Well, we're being told that Holmes went for the YOLO strat of hurt more just for the swag. It didn't hit, but still nonetheless able to take out the Dragon Lord here, and Mr. Holmes is going to finish in first place among our racers here. Get out your GGs, as he is going to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 25 seconds.
GG indeed. Mr. Holmes really is a master at the standard flags Dragon Warrior randomizer. It's always great to watch how he gets through the various seeds. Very wide variety of challenges that you can encounter in this randomizer, and he seems to move through most situations flawlessly. So there was something that happened early on that I wanted to ask him, and I'm forgetting. Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. If he feels like coming in for a chat, I don't know. And Jackimus is 3 blue dragons away from his decision now. Let's see, when he gets to 19, he's not... If he doesn't have the Death Necklace, he's either going to just hope that it's in Sharlock, or he's just going to keep going for more strength and maybe go to 20. Could take just an extra, 4 or 5 minutes to just get another level at that point. And he'll have less hit points to work with in terms of double attacks like MisterHomes got it at 19. But it should still be reasonable. Like, if he equips the Death Necklace, I think he'll still be in the realm of like 120 hit points on the Strength Agility build, which is enough for at least some double attacks.
And meanwhile, Shoob is deep in the grave and just moments away from getting the Death Necklace.
Aha! So I missed if Shoobinator actually made it to the Sharlock Treasury earlier. I know he was in Sharlock with that purpose in mind, but
well, I think
regardless,
I think peripherally, I thought I saw him check the Treasury, and I think might have even doubled back to look vanilla.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, hence why we have to go dive the grave now. So, that's what I was saying. It's like an extra trip now that he's taking into the grave after the fact. Although he is not on the appropriate level yet to win. So, it's not like it's necessarily costing him time to do this. Whereas with Jack, it's going to be an entirely extra trip to get the Death Necklace now. Because Jack's already at 19. Assuming he doesn't already have it. I don't... It's been a while since I've really looked at his items. But I don't recall Jack actually going to the lower levels of the grave. He got the top 3 chests when he was at level 1, so there was no chance really to go at that time. I don't remember him ever revisiting the grave, so...
I don't believe so either.
Yeah, so he's going to go probably just hoping that it's in the treasury. And when it doesn't find it, what's he going to do? He's going to probably... It looks like he might be fighting enemies now as an insurance policy just in case he needs to go to 20. Because he won't have, enough attack power if he doesn't find the necklace. So he seems to be kind of hedging his bet and taking some fights on the way down.
Yep, Chad is certainly right. The sodium count has greatly increased.
So now with Shoobinator having the Death Necklace in hand, see, he's only at 16 right now. I kind of wonder if he's now, because MisterHomes has already finished, if he's maybe assuming that 17 is going to be a big strength gain, and he's going to try and get that with the intention of finishing on this dive. He's in Sharlock right now on 16. Already has the Death Necklace in hand, so I don't know why he'd be in here unless he was going for it, potentially trying to win at 17. The other possibility, I don't remember if Shoobinator has seen the mini-boss, but he may be aware of the Axe Knight. Although he's not defense breaking the Axe Knight, he has not purchased the Silver Shield.
Although the fund's certainly getting up there, but still has about 4,675 to go.
Alright, so now when Shoobinator gets this level right now and sees 3 more power, which clearly isn't enough. Well, he is continuing down. So that's interesting. Abandoning the blue dragon grind that he did for a little while and is fighting his way through Sharlock for more levels. Jack's now in the 2nd zone. And so he's picking and choosing. He's running away from Stonemen because they're always a much longer fight. And I think he's been picking off some of the easier fights. He's up to 17-4, so he's about a third of the way through. Remember, going from 19 to 20, as I mentioned earlier, is a longer level up than the previous several levels, which were 2250 each. At this stage now, you need 3,000 for each additional level. So you got to go from 16.5 all the way to 19.5. So he's actually only a third of the way there now. So this staircase here marks the entry to the 3rd zone. And Jack's already been through here, so he knows what to expect in each zone. He knows the enemies, the enemy sets that are in here. So he is picking off enemies like the green dragon, which he is defense breaking now. Even with only the large shield. So he has, with the strength agility build, with the large shield, he has 88 defense power, which is just enough to break green dragons. And he is going for the treasury, looking for the death necklace. Shoobinator approaching zone 3 as well. And if Shoobinator does some kind of YOLO strats, this is actually going to be a close foot race now. Although Jack, we'll have to see if he wants to go all the way back to the grave, or if he's going to just hope that level 20 is it. Which is my prediction. I think he's going to go over to the Axe Knight mini boss and try for 20.
Well, the difference is, we have some MisterHomes in chat. Congratulations!
I snuck in on you guys. Thanks so much, guys. That was.
What's going on?
What's going on is I was definitely thinking I should have won at level 18, but I decided just to be safe and get 19, and that would have been crazy.
I actually thought you were going to try for it on 18 also, but you were kind of picking off some monsters on the way, and then the mini boss was just too good to be true, so you just got the extra level. But yeah, I think it was winnable at 18.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, until I got that string of green dragons at the end, I was actually still thinking, okay, I'm 1,400 experience away. But then I got 4 green dragons in a row. I was like, okay, now we're closer. Oh, there's an Axe Knight. Okay. And I was assuming, oh, this will be just some huge level. The fight won't even be close. And it's like, oh, 2 power. Well, I guess we're fighting.
And so unless we drastically missed something in the sequence of events for you, you decided to actually dive the grave for the necklace before trying for the Sharlock treasury, right?
Yeah, at the time, the attack power was still so abysmal. And I figured, unless there's tons of Hurtmore stuff in Sharlock, it's not where I want to be going. And so, I mean, it's right there, it's not that long. And you just never want to be bit in the butt, like skipping those 2 chests. And then, like, yeah, I didn't even think I was going to be able to get down to the bottom because I only had like 65 MP. So that was part of what went to my decision as well.
Oh, okay. And so the time it takes to go and heal up somewhere to do a Sharlock dive, like you might as well just go into the grave. Is that... It felt like it may have had something to do with your routing or where you happened to be at the time. I just didn't catch it. All of a sudden we were like, oh, he's actually going into the grave. And I had thought that maybe you would have tried Sharlock first. Hoping for Hurtmoreable enemies, because the 2 spike tile enemies weren't any good, really.
Yeah, but what I was saying, I only had like 60 or 65 MP, and so I thought I was going to run out well before I got to the bottom. I mean, you're talking about like 6 armored knights right there, and that's it.
Yeah, and that would be the worst situation if you don't really get much out of your dive, and then you still haven't, you haven't gotten anything accomplished. So yeah, it worked out great because the death necklace was in the grave, which is where you went first, and we see that Jack did it the other way around, and he just checked the treasury and with no luck. So now he's trying to grind for level 20 on the mini boss, hoping just to get the strength, and not have to get the death necklace.
Right.
That's rough though, because it could be like 3 more levels before you get it. When like if you just had the item, you could fight him right now.
And so is he on strength HP or strength agility?
Jack went strength agility, so
Yeah, that's right.
but he was not able to get the silver shield that you got, so he's not yet breaking the Axe Knight like you were.
Yeah, I was super pleased with that decision, fighting the occasional gold man along the way. I was wondering if you guys noticed that.
I actually didn't notice that. I didn't realize that you had that on your mind that whole time until you actually went on that detour and picked up the shield. It was very impressive.
Yeah, because a big thing on my mind was knowing that Jack was likely strength agility, because that's what he does. I'm always looking at the cases where that build is better. And that build's better when you can defense break monsters that strength HP can't. I'm like, oh man, if he's got Silver Shield, he might be able to defense break this blue dragon, and he'll just be able to go to town. So I think when I was at like 7,000 gold or 6,000 gold, I was like, man, I have a lot of gold. Let's try not to die. And it just worked out.
Yeah, for a little while, it looked like he was going to have a problem with not being able to use the death necklace, and then I forget what level, but you got 35 more hit points when you already had 120, so all of a sudden that puts the strength agility build over the threshold as well.
Yeah, true story.
At the same time.
I ended up with I think without the necklace I would have had 170 or something. I had the necklace on for so long I don't even know.
Yeah, the start was interesting.
We calculated to 176.
Okay, that must have been with the last level, right?
Yeah, with 19. Yeah, with your our tracker confirming it by removing the death necklace on the stat tracker, and yes, so you had 176 hit points without the death necklace on, but only an attack power of 113.
Man, I still wish I could have won with 70 strength. That would have been a first for me. That was just unreal.
So the start was looking good for Jackimus, actually. So he ran around looking for a town with that gold and went straight into the grave and made it to the chest and found the sword on level 1. So it was looking good, but then you guys got hurt more so early that it turned out to be less of an advantage than otherwise might have been.
Yeah, and the one thing that I was pleased with and thought was the strongest was actually my early game. So I think I saw the grave, or I saw the cave, but this was after I got level 2, which didn't take me that long. It only took me a couple minutes. I killed a couple Drakkies, and then I was able to explore Zone 1. Saw I didn't have the enemies to use hurt on. And then the West Zone had skeletons and stuff like that, and I was able to get hurt more. And then I went a bit more west and found the Golden Zone.
So 1 second here, Jackimus doesn't yet have the death necklace. I don't understand fighting the Dragon Lord with 113 attack power, unless he's just death warping out of here to go look in the grave. But I expect to see some hurt mores being thrown down here. 113 attack power just can't possibly work.
I mean,
Level 20 did not yield very much power for your information.
There's 2 more attack power at level 20, so strength of 73 at level 20. This has to be the lowest that at least I've seen in running this game over the course of the last 14 months or so.
And we've seen a couple of hurt more attempts already. And I don't know how many times you try and land a hurt more before you give up and just take the death. I'm not sure. Because at a certain point, you're still not able to win. Alright.
Here's the crazy thing. I actually think he needs to land 2 because you're doing like 60 damage and you need 100 more. With 4.5 average damage, that's over 20 attacks. So I really think he needs to land another one.
That's what I was just saying. And if you miss on the first few tries, now you're looking at like less resources to get to melee your way for the rest of the damage. So all of a sudden now you need like an extra one. You're saying that he probably needed 2 no matter what. But
Maybe
yeah,
if he landed the first one, he'd be good to go. But...
right. Well, always entertaining. It's worth a shot, I suppose. You're here. You're basically intending to just take this death, I think, so that you can go to the grave now.
And just to be clear, I did call this in the previous races chat that he was going to use at least 1 hurt more today. So just need to pat myself on the back here.
I honestly feel like we got a little bit of a race on our hands because Shoobinator has the death necklace already now. So he's behind in levels, but he's grinding the mini boss, and he's going to have to redive. But if Jack is planning on going and getting the necklace now, Shoobinator might walk right past him and get second place here. So
sounds like it's going to be really close.
It's kind of crazy how this just worked out with the necklace being at the bottom of the grave. And yep. So now Jack took the death, and I kind of assume he is going to look for the necklace now, because it's at this stage it's 3,000 between levels. So it's like if he wants to grind yet another level and not necessarily be guaranteed to get the strength, that's like another, at this point I feel like he might as well look for the necklace, and I think that's what he's going to do now.
Yeah, and just to further the death necklace story is, considering how early in the seed I had gotten most of all of the plot items, and how apparently obvious it was from even level 9 that it was going to be a death necklace seed. There's no I don't want to say there's no good reason. Like, there's probability, and that is a good reason, but I'm very hesitant about just skipping those chests and just assuming it's going to work out for you.
So Jack just completely proved me wrong. He's just going straight back into Sherlock, fighting more enemies, and probably is going to grind the mini boss at the bottom, which again, he only has the large shield, so he's still not defense breaking Axe Knights, even though he's strength agility. So kind of a combination of some tough luck for Jack. He's just going to hope 21.
What's his agility?
His agility right now is 104. So he's got 90.
So he's 2 defense short.
Yeah. And you know what? Come to think of it, and you were just alluding to it a minute ago, but I think that Jack skipped a lot of chests in the overworld. I don't think he ever went into Mountain Cave, because you guys had the sword and all the quest items early, and we mentioned it at the time that you were actually going out of your way to find more chests with only the death necklace, really to be found, and you went out of your way to actually clear the entire Mountain Cave, which was basically optional, except that you're looking for the death necklace. So that's kind of a heads-up play. Like you said, the stats were so out of whack that it felt like you were going to need that item. So you continued to look for chests, even though you already had the quest items and the sword. So I thought that was cool. It's kind of unusual that that's the right play.
And, am I wrong? Was the fighter's ring in the Mountain Cave, or no?
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, so he's 2 attack power down.
Correct.
Right, so I was looking for that.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Necklace.
Is he 2 attack power down? Oh, he's got an extra level. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he's showing the same attack power as you, but he's got an extra level. So, and he has yet to equip the death necklace. You equipped it very early as part of your grind. So, he has not even acquired it. So that was another thing. Since you had it, you ended up using it, and you used it for your grind. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I actually debated using it a little earlier, because we were at 145 HP. We knew we were going to use it. But even with it a lot earlier than earlier in the grind, I didn't think we'd be able to beat the blue dragon without having to use a heal more in fight. And so when we got to the point with attack power and AHP, I was like, okay, I'm imagining the fight. We should be able to win almost all the time without using a heal more, and then you just get in a nice rhythm. fight, heal more. Fight, heal more. And it worked out really well.
You're saying if you can get to the point where you're outlasting the enemy, the grind enemy, without having to use the heal more in battle, and so then you heal more after battle. Yeah. Yep. That works out well. Yeah, so sometimes just having all the extra HP is nice. In a lot of situations, in fact. Just more HP is better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was very unusual. Like, it was just the fact that this was the best grind enemy we had. And we got to a point where it was comfortable to use it. And so I saw no reason not to at that particular point. But yeah, that's very unusual.
And so before that, you were like in grind and go mode, I don't know, maybe level 11 or 12 or something. So what at that point, what were you thinking about in terms of grinding? You had something like 45 strength or something. And I think you had already seen the Stone Man, or maybe you went out of your way to go to Hawksness, I think. Just to see what the grind enemy was. Turned out to be the Stone Man. And so now, like, what do you do? Like, I don't know if you considered just trying to go back to those hills from the beginning of the game and hurt mooring, Magiwyvern and Knights. Like, you did that early grind.
It did cross my mind, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because the grind enemies, when you have that low strength, people were taking 7 or 8 swings at every blue dragon. I don't know. It felt like that couldn't possibly be the fastest way.
But if you think about it this way, like, the first thing, and they're close, but you've got the other crappy enemies in that zone, like there is a magician. And so the other thing is you have to walk for the encounters. And finally, you're basically getting like a third of the experience on average. Like, if you average out those guys, it's probably around 60. So you'd have to kill 3 of them with walking and avoiding the crappy enemy over 1 instant fight with a blue dragon. And I thought that just as the stronger we get, the better and better and better that guy's gonna get. So
yeah, at the point when I was thinking about that, I think maybe you hadn't gotten Erdrick's armor yet. So in theory, you could cast Repel, and I think you still would have had, Knights and Magiwyvern show up. But
right, but
yeah, you still have to walk around to find it.
I was still going to get it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of a race on our hands here. We got Jack having to fight more enemies because he doesn't yet have the strength, but he's on the bottom floor. Shoobinator's close to the bottom floor. Where is he? Or he's on the diamond room, so he's like a minute behind in terms of distance, but I feel like Shoobinator has what he needs already to win. He's already on 18, just getting some extra fights in, just in case. Looks like 1 fight away from 19, actually. And Jack... So yeah, this could be like a really close finish here. This is crazy to be in Jack's situation. Like I said, I think he skipped the entire mountain cave, and I don't even know if he found some of the other chests. Like, there was no reason really to search the Rimmildar chest, for example. So there were other chests as well that, if you felt like you already had everything, he may have skipped so many that there was no way afterwards to even really look for the necklace once it wasn't in Sharlock. So he's just stuck getting more and more levels until he can win.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'm curious. Because I'm getting close to the end of what I have to say here, but I'm always glad to talk with the Peanut Gallery.
Let's get some questions from Mr. Holmes. Get some questions in there in chat. There you go.
Any kind of question. Anything. AMA, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, here we go. We've got a question from chat. Were you nervous about the early death necklace use?
The only thought was I just had to be really careful because as soon as I put it on, I was already thinking, okay, I need to get the silver shield. And so when your HP is low, then there's chances of dying, and so you just have to be careful. So nervous, no, but cautious, yes.
Well,
Yeah,
take
when
a
you
look-
were walking back and forth to heal yourself or whatever, it wasn't like you were encountering any, there wasn't like the really terrible enemy in this seed, like a red dragon with sleep or something. So it seemed like you really weren't in danger of dying at that point, even if you equipped it early.
Cool, cool, cool. Maybe time for one more?
So what do you think about next week, Mr. Holmes? You got vanilla map going on next week, is that right?
And speed hacks?
Oh, are
Exclamation
you
point?
psyched about speed hacks or what?
You have no idea how much I absolutely loved that flag set. When we had the weekend that Tilo and his wife were going through all the different weeks of flag sets, that one was by far my favorite. I enjoyed it so much. And is that one random groupings as well? Because this was the position round, quote unquote.
I believe for next week it does go back to random, although if it was position round with where you're at now with the 5 points here, that would be a heck of a matchup in the top 4. It would be you, High Spirits, Game Boy F9, and Scorpion Max.
Oh, damn. Shout out to Scorpion Max. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Other
you're
question
the
is-
top 4 at the moment with your first place finish here.
Right, and this is the last race of the week, right? So the drawing's going to happen soon-ish?
Are we in charge of doing that tonight for Ron? I don't know.
If we are, nobody has told me a doggone thing about it.
I'm gonna go with it's happening later. Some other time.
Alright, well...
I don't know.
That.
There were a few other questions for you in chat, Mr. Holmes. I don't know if you actually have it up, but...
No, I don't. I'm just chilling here. So hit me up.
So let me see. They were asking... Does it feel good to be back on top? I don't know if that's overall SRL rankings they're referring to.
I doubt that I'm back on top of the SRL rankings this league and the practice for it with the huge variance with the flag sets. Definitely have taken a hit, but it feels good for me personally to have a race that I was happy with because it's been quite a while since that has happened. Even with standard flags, I feel like I've just been like forgetting things, and this one it just seemed like everything, there was a clear plan. So I feel really, really happy about that.
And another question, are you ever tempted to, in this kind of situation, to dive all the way to the mini-boss spike tile just to see if that's a better grind?
So that's really interesting. I think I would be more inclined if I was defense breaking enemies. And the problem was I wasn't defense breaking anything without the silver shield. And to get the silver shield I needed to grind, so it's kind of a circular argument there, but it definitely did cross my mind, but I mean, without defense breaking it, you're getting down there and you're maybe killing like 8 or 10 of them, and that's it. Unless there's like some really sweet enemy that just like hurts you. I guess the Axe Knight did have hurt, so maybe. I didn't think I even knew that yet. I don't think I saw a single Axe Knight until I went into Charlotte, but that's definitely an aspect that's interesting, but I didn't consider at the time.
So, Furon, what happened with Jack? How much strength did he get? We're showing 119 total, and he's going for it again, right? With 119 attack power, is that right?
Yeah,
This is the longest fight ever.
So yeah, that's what 20, how many attacks? 6.5 on average. So you're looking at like 24 to 25 attacks. That might be doable. Might be.
Yeah, and if he were to start this dive over, he has 160 MP now. But he didn't enter the fight with that much because he got the level on the way.
So does he
And
have 17 heal mores?
I don't know what he entered the fight with, but he also has an obscene amount of hit points because he doesn't have the death necklace equipped. But anything beyond like 148 is just kind of wasted for this battle, anyways. But
Yeah,
he's down to his last heal more, by the way, and doing like 4 damage right here to the Dragon Lord. Ugh. And there's another 9 damage, and no, Jackimus is unable to win with 119 attack power. I've never seen 119 be enough. I don't think I've ever seen it. I feel like if he went right now with this MP, it actually would be enough. It would be the first time I've ever seen it. This is an
sure.
obscene statistical situation. Not having the fighter's ring here is actually significant. 121 would be much better than 119.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we're talking
meanwhile-
about 20 extra damage.
Don't look now, but Shoobinator kind of creeping up here and just wailing away now with the silver shield on these Axe Knights and going to town.
I'm surprised because Shoobinator has the death necklace. I don't know why he's not just fighting the Dragon Lord right now. He's already on 19, which is the level MisterHomes felt was like an extra level to win at. I don't know what exactly about the stats is bothering him, but he's clearly going for 20, even with the death necklace. So I don't know.
Right,
Unless,
and-
is Shoobinator someone that is not a fan of using the death necklace? If I kind of recall, somebody was in that camp, like a traditionalist. Am I getting the right person? I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, was there one other question? I don't want to leave anybody out, but
Yeah, what was the other? Oh, you kind of covered it. Which flags moving forward are you most excited about, and which are you most nervous about for the rest of the tournament? I think you kind of covered it.
yeah, chaos is just crazy, and you never know what's going to happen. I'm nervously excited for that one because I feel like I'm learning a lot more about it. But yeah, definitely next week. I feel like that's right in my wheelhouse. I have to do a bit more prep for it, and I'm looking forward to everyone wanting to practice and getting in tons of these little quick races, right? Because speed hacks, yeah, let's go.
And the vanilla map as well.
Yeah, that's a super cool aspect. I love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping in with us. It's always good to hear your thoughts on how these things go.
Likewise.
You made it look easy.
Well, it's all about having a plan, and one lesson I've learned from playing chess is that a bad plan is better than no plan at all. So that's my philosophy. Anyway, thanks so much, team, for restreaming, for commentating, and for the audience for the questions. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. So take care, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mr. Holmes.
From we got quite the battle going for second place. I don't know if I'm not sure if I have the right person, but I felt like one of the runners that's been around for a while just was always kind of against the death necklace and tries not to use it or something. But otherwise, maybe he forgot that he has it. Sometimes that happens. You're looking at your attack power and your stats, and you're just not like factoring in that you're going to be using the death necklace. You know what I mean? Because he's going to 21 and has not yet attempted a fight against the Dragon Lord. And this is his chance to beat Jackimus right now, because Jackimus is failing these fights, having not yet found the death necklace. I don't know.
Well, and Jack, it looks like, is continuing to fight his way down Sherlock. Way, perhaps get level 2.
Yeah, well, he has way too many chests to explore to know even where to look for the death necklace. So he's decided just, he's got to get one more level. Every level he gets, he's just hoping for like a double-digit strength can, and it just hasn't come. So it's been That's his. Clearly, he's just going all in with that strategy. He's going to get as many levels as it takes. But Shoobinator doesn't need any more levels, so that's why I'm kind of curious what's happening here.
Well, I think just looking at that attack power, 115, even with the death necklace at 125, granted I'm more of a novice runner, but I would not feel confident with it, despite having insane amounts of hit points and magic points. But that's just me.
It's a number that feels like it's usually too low for sure. So it's definitely a balance between all the stats. As you said, we're overpowered in every other category. But we're green across the board now for everything else. But yeah, typically 125 actually is not enough. In fact, so maybe that's it. Maybe he has just like a number that he always shoots for, like 130 attack power. For example, and just kind of like ballparks it.
And that's why we on our tracker we have that. That's where it changes from orange to green is at 130.
Right. Yeah. So if the race is on now. He's got. Whoa, geez, what is 21? It's 2250 he needs? 22.5? I don't even know these numbers. You never see
the books here. It's been so long.
You never see runners go this high. So is he going to get 22.5 before Jackimus gets to 25.5? This is obscene. Like there are some races where 5,000 experience points is enough to win. It just goes to show you how long this is going. They're getting potentially 5 times as many experience points as you need in other seeds.
I mean, the way this is going here, call Captain Green 7 and Caton 619. It's like we're going to have a reunion.
I believe Jackimus was a part of one of the longest and most epic battles of Dragon Warrior Randomizer back when the software worked slightly differently, and I think he had a match against Nest Cardinality a long time ago that went like 3.5 hours, and I think they had to go to like level 23 or 24 on that one. So we're getting there.
Yeah, I have that stat here. That was the inaugural Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament back in 2016. It was, oddly enough, on Mischief Night of 2016, October 30th. Jackimus against Nest Cardinality in the finals of the bonus bracket. Jackimus had a winning time of 3 hours, 21 minutes, and 14 seconds. Card about 13 minutes and change behind at 3:34:38.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting, and we're getting confirmation 23 was the winning level according to chat. And so back then the way that things were is, first of all, there was no death necklace back then. So if you had a seed progression like this, you were forced to do exactly what Jackimus is doing. There was no option to use the death necklace to save yourself 3 or 4 level ups. And so if you just keep getting 2 more strength and 2 more strength and 2 more strength, you end up in this spot. So that was the main motivation, by the way, for why the death necklace was invented for this software in future or in more recent versions, for exactly this type of seed that just doesn't give you strength. So to shorten or to reduce the probability that something like this would happen. But we still see some outliers here and there. And it doesn't help Jackimus's cause that he just has no chance to really even know where to look for the death necklace. So it's going to 22. And I'm trying to think how much more strength he actually needs. Or he might even, if he fights again at 21, he actually might win, because he's going into the fight now with more MP. We're showing 160 MP for him. That's just outrageous.
Although he has used up a good portion of it, he's down to 132.
Oh, I didn't notice that. What was tripping him up? Or has he been like hurt mooring enemies? I don't know. Maybe he had some red dragons that weren't letting him go or something. I didn't really catch it, but yeah. So at 132, how many more strength would he need for him to feel comfortable? We're about to find out. He's going to get it on this enemy.
Well, it's 16 heal mores that he has. So, man,
I'm feeling for Shoobinator because Jack's about to just walk right past him, and Shoobinator could have won this fight, a few minutes ago.
6, 1, 17, and 2.
Oh, that's huge.
85. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but that makes a giant difference. When you're talking about those strengths scores, like the difference between 119 and 125 is pretty big. You're going from 4 to 9 damage all the way up to 6 to 12 damage. Doesn't sound like a lot. They're all small numbers, but on average, that's way less attacks needed. This is pretty much guaranteed here.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long fight, but he's virtually guaranteed to win.
If you're rolling average with 124, generally you want to have 136 MP. He's at 132, so as long as he rolls slightly higher than average, Jackimus should have that.
Yeah, he's got 186 hit points to work with. That's a number I didn't even think was possible. And that's on the strength agility build, by the way. I think MisterHomes actually might have had 200 hit points here at level 22. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think that was possible. But anyways, yeah, you're right. He's going to be relying on a few double attacks, but I think everything's lining up to be able to get those here.
Oh, going with a double heal more. Okay.
Shoobinator, I think, is 1, or it looks like 2 battles away from getting his level. Curious if 21's going to be enough.
Well, we know it's going to be another 6 strength, so it'll put him at 121 attack power. If you use the death necklace,
well,
30.
22 was 6. I think 21 was only like 2.
I think both 21 and 22 were 6 apiece, because you can see it went from 73 to 79, and then 79 to 85.
Oh, okay. I must be thinking of 20 then. Must have given him 2.
Yeah, it was 19 to 20 where he went up to, as I'm looking here. And now there's 21 for Shoobinator.
All right.
Trying to do a little walk heal, but might it be too little too late?
There's the death necklace. So he did reach his target 130. So he'll have 131 when he equips it. Oh, wait, maybe he's not equipping it?
No, he put it on.
Oh, I forgot the HP updates afterwards. Yeah, after you're done talking to the Dragon Lord. No, he still has 169 HP. No, he didn't.
Oh,
he didn't put it on.
He went for it and then he opted against it, I suppose. Well, he had the.
Oh,
now he's putting it on?
Can you even do that? I don't even know if this works properly if you do it in the middle of the battle.
We're about to find out.
Well, he is cursed, or at least it says he's cursed.
But meanwhile, as that's been going on, Jackimus has taken out the Dragon Lord.
All right, GG for JackimusWedge, guys. About 45 minutes after MisterHomes finishes, we have our second place finisher. GG.
Yep, GG's in chat for Jackimus, who's going to finish in second with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 51 seconds.
Very nice. Wonder if he's in the mood for a chat. This is the type of seed that'll make you want to throw your game console out the window.
Amazing Toaster noting in chat, yeah, might even drive you to drink, but pretty sure Jack's been doing some of that anyway.
He had mentioned in SRL before the race started that he had plenty of beers, so there was no worries about if the race was delayed a little bit. We got started about 20 minutes late tonight, so he was okay with it.
Well, the way this seed went, it sounds like you might have needed an entire two.
Yep.
For those outside of Canada, a twofer is known as a 24-pack or a case.
And Shoobinator is victorious with about 7 heal mores to spare. So, going to talk to the king, and it turned out to be fairly close for second and third place, despite first place being so much faster. So it's just one of those weird seeds.
Yeah, only a 2-minute and 11-second differential. Shoobinator taking third. Make sure you get out your GGs, the official SRL time, 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 2 seconds. So that'll be 2 points for Shoobinator. So that'll push him up to 9 points. And the 3 for Jackimus will put him into double digits for 10. Which 10, I mean, it still puts them in the top 16. Just a little less breathing room as you get toward the bottom here. But Shoobinator tied for what looks to be, it looks like just creeps in, as it looks like 9 points is at the bottom end of the top 16. 10 points, it's up there, but yeah, at this point you've got as your standings at the moment. You've got High Spirits first overall with 15 points. You've got a 3-way tie for second. Scorpion Max, Game Boy, and MisterHomes with 13. Amazing Toaster with 12. Tilo, Rye Guy, and Beta Strep with 11. And then Tristal, Lord of the Synth, and Jackimus at 10. That's your roughly top 12 out of the mix there. Plus, we've got some with 9 in the fray as well, including Shoobinator, who's joining us here in the Discord. GG on a very close race between second and third.
Yeah, GG. And I noticed that I see a little mute symbol by him in Discord, so might need to unmute.
Yeah,
within Discord.
on the technical difficulties of push to talk and all that stuff that we have here.
Unmute and push to talk, yeah. The two gotchas. And Jackimus did mention that he was going to be stopping in to say hi as well. So within a couple of minutes, perhaps. So that'll be exciting.
And chat noting Discord is the true final boss.
Hey.
All right.
And there's
So, what was everybody's level at the end? Because I went to 21.
No.
Jackimus. Jackimus with the no. What's going on, Jackimus? GG to both of you guys. It was a tight race for second.
Dragon Warrior there. It was good times.
So he was saying no because Jackimus actually went to 22, having never found the death necklace. And so
somewhere.
It was in the bottom of the grave, and I went back to find it.
Ah. Yeah, I found all the quest items and the sword, like, in the first 5 minutes or so. So I'm like, let's just play the game. And then the strength was awful. And I mean, there's a couple of points where the death necklace definitely would have helped out because the strength was so bad that having that extra 10 attack power would have made a massive difference. But Ain't that just how she goes?
Yeah, that 10 strength would have been very helpful, but at the same time, I went through at least 6 blue dragons without landing 1 in 6 Hurtmores.
Yeah, that's
Should've
pretty
just
bad
swung
luck.
it.
I think it's 50-50 or so on a blue dragon, right?
It is a
So
coin flip,
missing
yeah, but
6 in a row is pretty bad luck.
Jackimus was trying to get a word in.
just swing and heal, man. You got heal more. What's it matter? Swing and heal.
I was hitting them for 10s and 15s at that time.
Yeah, me too.
So to answer your question too, Mr. Holmes finished at 19, and he felt like he could have won at 18. So that is how much difference the Death Necklace made in this particular situation.
I could see a scenario where you could win with the deck necklace at even 17 there, because the strength gains were just so awful until that level 22 where it's like, oh, here's 6 strength, and it's like, well, okay, now it's automatic. But yeah, that was I didn't like those strength gains.
I don't think anybody did, because I was pretty annoyed for the last 8 levels.
I did land a hurt more on the Dragon Lord that one time, but then I couldn't land another one, and that was disappointing.
I didn't even bother. I just went straight to 21. Straight to 21. Got what 73 strength, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'll use the Death Necklace.
So as you mentioned, everyone seemed to get the stuff pretty quick. And did you have any backup plans for grinding? I think you all went with the Blue Dragon grind for the majority, but it was so slow. It was like you guys were swinging 6 or 7 or 8 times to kill a single Blue Dragon. Did you have any thoughts of trying to find a little Hurtmore zone out in the world somewhere or anything like that?
Well,
Yes.
there was a fantastic Hurtmore zone in Sharlock, but you had to get all the way down there with enough MP to make it worthwhile. So the first time I got down there, I had tons of MP, and it was like, yeah, all right, this is pretty great. But then I tried it a couple more times, and I was like burning through MP on the way down. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to run from everything to level up there. That doesn't really seem productive in the grand scheme of things. So it's just like, just kill whatever at this point. This Dragon Warrior, it's a game. I like it.
Yeah, another detail was Mr. Holmes on that Blue Dragon grind he never died, so he ended up buying the Silver Shield. So when he got in that situation, he happened to be defense breaking the Axe Knight, and so was able to go just melee with the Axe Knight for a while, Didn't need the magic. But nothing you can do.
That was something that occurred to me at one point. Like the first time I got down there and I was beating up on the Axe Knight, I had a good, I think, 8-ish thousand gold in reserve. Then I was just, did a death warp, and then I looked back on it and it's like, well, on the off chance the strength gains continue to be awful, which they did, that Silver Shield would have made a huge difference. I don't know if it's enough to catch me up to whatever voodoo wizardry Holmes pulled on this one, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt wizardry based crazy that got him to win.
Just out of curiosity, though, did anyone else just kind of from the start somehow wander into the grave and pick up the sword and the key within like the first minute like I did? Because I just felt like, oh man, I should not have all this stuff already. I felt so far ahead early on.
I know I didn't. I killed a few Drakies and then I got hurt more, and I'm like, I'll try.
Yeah, you did it shortly after. I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes after you had gotten maybe level 4 or 5 by the time you went into the grave. So yeah, you did have the great advantage there on level 1. It just so happened that Hurtmore was learned pretty early, so having the early sword didn't end up working out quite as well as it does otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, and on top of that, just finding all those quest items, it's like, yeah, I don't care about treasure chests anymore, so no death necklace.
Yeah, my problem was that I completely and utterly overlooked Garenham. I missed it got to Cole, went back, and started searching everywhere else.
Yeah, it's rough when you talk to the old man for the rainbow drop and you're like, wait, why isn't he giving it to me? Like, what's going on? So you still had the harp and not the staff. It was like, oh,
Yeah, because
had to make a return trip.
I
Yeah.
completely forget what was in Garenham at this point because that was so long ago.
Well, the chests were irrelevant, but you had to go into the back cave for the staff of rain. The swap.
Right, that's what it was. Okay, cool.
I also was searching everywhere for armor, just basic armor, like even chainmail, and nothing had it until I got the armor.
That armor stuff's overrated anyway.
Yeah, the first couple of towns, you were. I think there was a clothes in the first town. I think a leather armor in the next. It was just this kind of slow trail to slightly better armor. But by the time all the good stuff was around, you had Erdrick's armor, no problem.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a fun seed. I mean, level 22. I've been higher before, but yeah, that was good times. Guys, for whoever is like rolling the next groups or ever, I have a very serious request that I have to make here. So I'm going to be visiting Bryself, who's also in the tournament within the next week. So I don't know how the groups are calculated or whatever, but we kind of can't be in the same group because I'm going to have to do my race at his house. So, don't put us in the same group. That would be kind of ideal right now.
All right. I have no
Is that
control
okay?
over that, but
I know none of you guys are.
we'll get the admins on it.
Yeah. Just, I mean, like, we're going to be at the same place, but it's not like we're going to be like, cheating or whatever there. I mean, like, I'm the last person to do that. I don't care. I'm just doing this for fun. But it's like, if we're in the same group, we're probably going to have to delay things a bit because there's only one stream machine there. So I don't even know how the groups are calculated or if we even qualify for it. But, don't put me and Brian in the same group because we won't be able to race until like 2 weeks from now, and that'll slow everything down. So, yeah, that's all.
So other than that, what do you think about next week's flags with the vanilla map and all that? You looking forward to that one?
I'm fine with it.
I haven't, even really put too much thought into whichever flags we're playing from week to week. I just kind of roll with it and have fun with it. So if we're doing like a super speed vanilla this next week, hey, that sounds well, that's always fun. I'm never good at it, but let's just hang out, have some good times, and see what happens, don't you, Doe?
Sounds like the right kind of plan to me.
I am the man with a plan, after all.
I appreciate the fine performance from you guys, and it turned out to be a nice, exciting finish between you guys. So, good races, and good luck next week. I think you guys all still have a shot to make some waves in this tournament.
All I know is that
I don't know how any of the scoring or nothing works. I just kind of roll with the punches, and we'll see what happens there. I'm just in this for fun, and I am having fun, and that's all that matters to me. And hey, Shoes, buddy, maybe I got the best of you tonight, but you got the best of me before, and I think next time you're going to get the best of me again, man. She was good times. And, thanks to that there Fear and Burgundy kid and that fellow who's clearly up to no good, you guys did some words. Have a great night, everyone. My name is Jack, and let's go Bruins.
Sweet dreams, Jack.
I feel like we should end it there, but I guess we have other things to wrap up as well.
Indeed. What else is going on? This was the last race of this round, right? So we're moving on to round 4.
Correct. So round 4 or week 4, I mean, I guess technically, we have to figure out when or how they're going to be doing the randomization
of that. If I knew how to do it, I certainly would, but I don't know. Plus, there needs to be some sort of a display, and streaming and I don't. Oh, I'm finding out now our restreamer Scousen is apparently doing the randomization. Okay.
Hooray! So we get to do that now?
Yeah, we're things changing second by second around here, so we may actually have in a moment our round 4 matchups here, with a particular request to not have Jackimus and Bry in the same group, which is good because they were a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was last week that they were.
So I know some of the rounds are done sort of based on the point totals, keeping like it close, you know. So the people that have been winning race against each other, the people who have been losing race against each other. But then other weeks I think are totally randomized. So I don't know how it's working for round 4, but it's we will find out in a few minutes. This has been kind of a fun league so far for Ron. So we have these traditional tournaments once in a while that are like these bracket formats, or we have Swiss style tournaments and things. But now in what we're calling the league for this year, it's cool because we're switching up the flag sets every week. So it's been kind of refreshing.
It certainly is a lot of fun. Now, and taking a look at the official rules here, so for week 4, it's going to be the randomly selected groups, and that's going to be this coming week, the 18th to the 24th. And then February 25th to March 3rd, which is week 5, that is the 5th and final round of the regular season, and it's going to be a position round similar to this week. So that's where points are going to be really crucial here, especially in certain spots. And then starting on March 4th, that will be week 6 that has the that's the beginning of the playoffs.
Oh, okay. Week 6. All right. So yeah, there's 5 rounds altogether, and then there's more for playoffs. Do we know what they're doing for flag sets for the playoffs, or?
Yes. I don't. Well, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure this is available somewhere, so it's not like it's a huge secret. But
Okay.
for week 6, going to be your traditional chaos. So it'll be like your standard randomizer with the chaos flag thrown in. That'll be for week 6. Week 7 is definitely a test of endurance, as that will be that will be the at that point, I guess, the Elite 8, for lack of a better term. And that will be standard Dragon Warrior randomizer, but with 100% experience speed. So just the normal speed as opposed to fast or very fast.
Yeah. So when you get a seed like tonight and you're going to level 22, it's just going to be like forever. It sounds like.
Exactly. Yeah. At that point, gosh, I don't even know if I want to do the calculations on it here. It's probably better that I don't. But yes, so that'll be for week 7. Week 8 will be another test of attrition, as it will be traditional chaos, but with big swamp mode.
Oh yeah, we haven't had any big swamp so far in this league play, huh? So they saved that for the playoff round.
Yeah, big swamp is where 75% of the overworld land has, well, it has the swamp tiles that deduct 2 hit points every step that you walk. So that one, get ready for a lot of deaths. And then the 5th and final week, week 9, the last week of March, that'll be the grand championship. It'll be standard Dragon Warrior randomizer with big swamp mode.
Oh, they're putting Big Swamp as the championship round as well? Wow. That's
That is
surprising.
correct.
Huh, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a little extra challenge having to take damage just everywhere you go.
It's definitely, once you get to those upper levels, it is a test of attrition. That is for sure. Now, I'm being told by our restreamer Scousen that for the sake of time and to make sure that the administrators can vet the seedings. We're going to omit the reveal for this particular stream. It'll be rolling as soon as we end the stream here and posted in the Discord. And we'll see if there's some sort of an announcement as far as a reveal of what those brackets will be. Otherwise, we'll have the schedule posted up at somewhere along, I would say, to check out the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Discord for more information for that. Just so that way, if there is something that doesn't quite match up or something that doesn't quite follow along, since we have none of the administrators available, we're going to allow them to vet everything here for the randomization for week 4. So that way we can keep things on the level and honest and everything of that nature here.
So I just wonder if Jackimus is playing against Bry after all that.
Well, I mean, they did, as I was alluding to earlier, I believe it was last week that they faced one another. They were part of that. Oh, yes, that's right. It was a week ago. Well, technically yesterday, because it's past midnight here on the East Coast. But it was 1 week ago where it was Jack, Bry, Rye Guy, and Angry Larry. And I had fun commentating that one with Edgeworth.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we're not going to do it live on this particular stream. It's coming soon, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have more word coming out. I know that Game Boy F9, he usually streams on a Saturday morning, so maybe he'll have a little bit more information on his stream, whether he's playing Dragon Warrior Randomizer or Seventh Saga Randomizer or something along those lines as he does on a Saturday morning. But I think we're gonna wrap things up here for no other reason that I'm gonna be using my voice again in my IRL job in just a little under 6 hours from now.
So you don't want to do another one of these right now? We could do a triple header.
Not on your life. No, I mean, if push came to shove and they absolutely needed somebody, and they had nobody else, I probably would consider it. But I don't know. We'll leave that to some other time here. But we want to thank you for tuning in here to Randomania. Make sure to give our runners a follow, as they sure put on a heck of a race here tonight for you. Also, make sure to show some love to the folks behind the scenes, including our restreamer Scousen, also our tracker Centroid41, and my co-commentator Up to NG, who has a lot of fun doing Donkey Kong runs I've seen as of late.
Yeah, fun is a
Well, okay, maybe that's a relative term, but it is both challenging and entertaining to see the subtle nuances of a game from quite long ago. One of the early groundbreaking games in terms of video game history.
It's even older than Dragon Warrior. Is there such a thing?
Yeah, the game and I are both it. But no, make sure to give all of them a follow, and make sure to stay tuned here among the Randomania networks, as we've got more Dragon Warrior Randomizer League action coming your way, potentially starting as early as Sunday. But until then, for all the folks behind the scenes and in front, for Up to NG, my co-commentator, I'm Ferran Burgundy, saying may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. Good night, everyone.